Attention!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is a place of worship.
Now let me see your war face. Ah!
Hello, listeners.
Ahoy in the vast.
Oh, hooray.
Alright, you ready to set sail?
Hope so.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Film Majors. I'm Zach.
I'm Mick.
I'm Alexis.
And what's this?
And, yeah.
Who did we see floating in a
I'm
dinghy?
afraid we have a stowaway aboard.
Yeah.
That's
you.
You're the stowaway.
Yeah. Who do we have
who
with
is
us
this?
today?
We have Kenny.
Hey, Kenny, my friend Kenny. Hello, welcome to the show finally.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Of course.
A
Excited.
fellow filmmaker, by the way.
Indeed.
If I may be so bold.
A fellow film major?
Were you?
There was at one point, yes. There was.
Really?
Indeed.
There was.
Before we continue, Kenny, I'm just going to ask you to lean into your
Yeah,
mic.
of course,
lean
of
right
course.
in. Perfect.
Oh, there
we
it is.
go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, love it. Sweet spot.
You went to school in Sacramento?
Sacramento, of
Tight.
course. Yeah, I went to the Art Institute in Sacramento, now closed. But I did get a lot of beneficial relationships from people, and
Nice.
that got me here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love that. I love it when you get a relationship that's beneficial. Like,
Yeah,
you
I've
know,
had this relationship with Mick for years, and I've
That's
reaped
true.
absolutely no benefits from it.
That's not
gotten
even remotely
chlamydia.
true.
Not even
That's
like
so
just
funny.
a little like, yeah.
You got a roof over your head, motherfucker. Thanks to me.
Yeah,
Not this one.
Yeah,
Not this one quite as
different
much. The first one, we shared a bedroom.
Yeah, we shared a bed.
Well, yeah, actually, we did, didn't we? Yeah, we go way back. Actually, Zach earlier today said that 5 years now
Yeah,
we have lived together in one form or another.
for 5 calendar years.
And it's interesting. I've noticed that the longer we live together, the more our hair starts to like kind of become the same.
When it's short, it looks the same.
Yeah,
As my hair grows longer, it returns to the curly state.
Yeah, we both have that kind of right wing,
Yeah, kind
Tiki
of
torch holding
alt-right type haircut.
and it
right
makes me
now.
uncomfortable. I'm not happy.
I don't
about it.
like it either.
You just get
Yeah.
a general vibe of like being replaced, and you just don't
I
like it.
Yeah,
God, man, yeah, you look at our hair and you go, what's
going on? There it is.
Yeah.
That was great.
We're into our famous segment,
The
What's Going On?
Infamous segment.
Infamous segment. So I'm going to throw it to our guest first. Kenny,
Yeah.
Yes.
what's been going on with you? What's happening in life? What's happening at the movies?
Oh God, in life. Well, I just got done coordinating my first feature,
Fuck
and
yeah.
That's right.
that was an experience because I was technically a coordinator, but once we went to set, I still shifted back into the PA. I made the plan, then executed the plan. So that was very, very interesting. But I'm glad I worked with a team from I Think You Should Leave that brought me on
so
to
cool.
like train me in that aspect and brought me on this low budget comedy feature. So excited for it to come out. The Dress Up Gang.
Congratulations.
Dress
The
Up
Dress Up
Gang.
Gang.
All right. Keep my eyes
Cool.
open for that.
Can we share the Hollywood Boulevard story on this, or do you want to keep that to yourself?
I'll keep it to myself
Okay,
for,
cool.
for a while. Yeah, I'll tell you
Share it
off
when we
the
stop
mic.
recording. Yeah, when we stop recording, we can talk about
Real Hollywood.
Boulevard.
Talk about it off the air.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But congratulations. That's
Yeah,
insanely cool.
Thank you. And as far as movies, one thing I do want to talk about is The Strangers Chapter 1. I did see that.
Okay.
Did anyone see that?
No. Alexis, did you see it?
No.
Okay. So you're the only one who's seen it.
Have you seen the original?
Yes.
No.
I saw that
Didn't
in
know there
theaters.
was an original.
Yes.
In
Okay.
2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 out of 3 of us have seen The Strangers.
Yeah. So I love the original. Love it so much. It's just such a great way of like establishing horror in a way that's not like in your face with like the jump scares and things like that. There's just static shots of people standing here and then someone appears in the background, walks away, just the way they build
Rack
tension.
focus to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and in this movie, they try to do the same kinds of things, but they don't even understand what made the movie effective to begin with.
Ah.
And it's
Tragic.
just this like cookie cutter like couple, like CW couple, and it's like I just
Okay.
I was out there on that.
I'm back in.
was
It's like
on the CW, right? She was in Riverdale.
Really?
Wasn't she? Isn't
Yeah,
that
I
the
think-
redhead?
Yeah, I think the actress was in Riverdale.
Yeah.
I think her
like
name's
literally, she off of a
Amanda.
CW
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, not automatically an out. Charles Melton was on Riverdale.
Yeah.
True,
But-
true.
Yeah.
He was great.
Lily Reinhart, love her.
Yeah, maybe more of an exception and not the rule.
Yeah.
Is what I'm starting to gather from your
Hey,
description
hey.
of this film.
Hey, sometimes it's the material, not the actor or the actress. So
Oh,
let's give them
definitely. Yeah,
benefit
like
of the doubt there.
they were trying their best with what they were given, which was not much.
For sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was you that gave like a. Did you review this on Letterboxd?
I think I just called it pathetic.
Yeah. No, Kenny, follow Kenny on Letterboxd. He gives like the best like short answer reviews.
Yeah,
love
we're
that.
far too wordy with our Letterboxd reviews. Sometimes that's really all you need.
Honestly,
I'm
I read
on this-
Mix and
Oh yeah, I'm
Continue.
on this podcast and I don't even read their reviews most of the time.
And why would you? You're on this podcast.
Yeah. She's
with
like, well,
us.
I'll know what they think of something.
Yeah.
They'll tell me.
I
They'll
read
tell
Mix
me,
reviews
and
on,
I will maybe not hear them the whole way through. But
I'll read mixed reviews on Letterboxd and just aspire to be that detailed about even things that I love.
Thanks. Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, yeah, I do. Okay, the one or two sentence letterbox reviews, like those don't bother me. In fact, a lot of those are my favorite. But
Yeah.
it's like when someone like says something like super offhanded and it's just like funny and like, oh, they must like it, and they give it like 2 stars. It's those reviews that I'm like. It's like their star rating has nothing
I
to
gotta
do
be
with
honest,
the sentence.
I am proud. My review from this year that I am proudest of is my review of Argyle, which was demented.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I can sum that movie up better than that with more words.
Yeah, like hunting knife rollerblading on oil is like where I draw the.
Yes. Yeah.
I see someone else. I see
Yeah,
someone
I was-
else made
I was
the
there.
appointment to meet the real Agent Argyle.
I could not believe who Argyle was.
I'm still not totally confident. I'm
that's
still
the thing,
not
I feel
100% sure that I know.
I feel like I've had you guys explain it to me, and I still don't know.
It's Agent Argyle. What don't you understand about it?
But also, maybe it's a little bit Henry Cavill based on the ending,
Yeah,
and
I
also the Kingsman.
Oh my god, I forgot about that tie-in. That
Somebody didn't stick around for the after credits of Argyle.
Did you?
And it shows.
Oh my god. That's terrible. Okay, so you saw Strangers, right? The
I
Strangers
did.
Chapter 1.
I did.
Not a recommendation.
No, I just go watch the other one.
Okay, the 2008 one.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll
that
have
should
to do that.
honestly, I should pop that on one of my Spooktober lists one of these years, because The Strangers is pretty solid.
Nice.
Alexis, have you seen any films?
shockingly, I have actually seen 2 films
Oh, wow.
exactly,
I mean,
Hell yeah.
it has
exactly
been
the same
longer.
way because so I work at somebody's house, right? But it's like a huge house. So we have like one room that is the office where there's 2 computers, and normally I'm over there, but when I'm doing my hours for my remote job, I'm at the bar top in the living room with my like computer set up over there for the other job. And sometimes my nephew is like home, he's 8, and he's like has movies on the TV. And literally he rented the Fall Guy on demand, and I was like looking up from my computer like as I'm typing, and I was like, oh, what is that? I was like, oh my god, is that right? I was like, Jackson, did you rent this? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, are you allowed to rent movies off the TV? He was like, I don't know. And I was like, okay.
Correct answer.
Anyways, you know what? To be honest, so fun. I definitely lost some hours of productivity while I was like distracted. Like I was desperately like still trying to do work, but I was very distracted by the movie. And to be honest, I really enjoyed it. I also love Youngblood, and I knew that I already knew he had a song in the movie, but that made me even more excited to like see the movie because I love Youngblood, and I don't care if that's Chugi or whatever the fuck, who cares. And the other movie that that kid threw on at some point last week was The Beekeeper. Which
Oh shit! He protects the hive.
Okay, wait. Have you seen it?
this,
You
yes.
liked it, right?
I am killing myself for not
Me
seeing
too.
The Beekeeper.
Alexis, I almost rented this like last week. Like I got
Really?
this close to watch it. What did you think of The Beekeeper?
You know, I feel like okay, here's one of my favorite things. I love like a really sweet short king playing like a villain. Like that's like one of my favorite things like ever. It's like Daniel Radcliffe in The Lost City and now Josh Hutcherson in The Beekeeper. I'm just like absolutely give
Yes.
my short kings more to work with on the other end of the boat, you know?
Hold on. Are you telling me that Jason Statham faces off against Josh Hutcherson? That's some casting right there.
Featuring bees.
Featuring bees.
Now,
Featuring bees. Yeah,
Kenny, you've also seen this film. How much does he protect the hive? Would you say? Alexis, thoughts?
Oh my-
Anyone?
My only criticism with that movie is I wanted more bee puns. There just weren't quite enough for me,
There
but I
certainly
would
weren't
not.
enough. You're right.
I just wanted a little bit more.
Be serious.
You know, like, yeah, more bee puns, you know, less plot, to be honest. You know, I didn't
less
even need all
plot.
of that.
Yeah. That's
There
a
was so
common
much
mistake.
going on.
Yeah, that's a common mistake those types of movies have, which is try to do plot.
Don't
No,
do
no,
it.
no.
You
it's-
don't need it. It
Yeah,
gets
there's
in the way.
There's this whole thing in the beginning with like this woman and a thing happens and like, oh my
I'm
God,
already
it's like,
bored.
what?
I'm already
Yeah,
bored.
I don't care.
Where are the
Yeah.
bees?
Yeah, well, I mean,
okay.
it's kind of like imagine like a tech startup company is like your villain, and we all know we hate them already. You know, you
Yes,
don't really have to work
exactly.
that hard. You know, I feel like they were working overtime with that woman in the beginning to really make us hate them, and I was like, I'm already there. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the Life Foundation in Venom. We all remember Venom. We all remember the Life Foundation, the evil
Definitely.
tech startup.
Definitely.
Eddie Brock's investigating them.
Hey, why you being bad? It's me, Eddie Brock.
Sorry,
You know-
I'm usually thinking about Venom a little bit.
You know, I'm going to say I'm really, really tired. This is my second, like, 85, 90-hour work week. So I'm like, I'm not all here,
good
guys. Just FYI, I'm not all here.
That's
but
okay.
Those
That's all
two
right.
movies were just loose enough in the plot that I didn't have to work that hard to watch them. And that was everything that I
Right.
needed in that moment.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to them. You know, I wouldn't say that they're like the best movies ever, but I really enjoyed The Fall Guy. And I actually think I would watch that again.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
I know I'd watch it again.
Well, everyone here present in Van Nuys also saw a new release,
Yes.
and
yes.
that is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
That's
Exciting.
right. Well, what did we think?
I did like it, and this is my own personal thing, and I'm also seeing it again Wednesday, so I can have a little bit of time to get away from it. I was just expecting Fury Road again.
Right.
And not that he would even try to do that or could do it or surpass it. That's just what I was expecting to see when I went into Furiosa, with the story elements and the look of the film and the style of the action and all of that. But putting that aside, I did love everything that was going on, the world building. It actually made me want to go watch all the other Mad Max movies again.
Yeah.
Because I have not seen those since I was like
Right.
a small child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to. It made me want to watch the two I haven't seen, which are the very first Mad Max and Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my expectations were maybe set a little more realistically because Mick saw it before me, and I got the don't go in expecting Fury Road thing. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think that it might improve for me on a second viewing as well. There were a few moments where there was some VFX in that movie
Yeah.
that really was not holding up.
It didn't work for you either.
No,
Interesting.
like some of it was just like a bit too much, especially on some of the wides. It's like, oh, you should have got away from that.
There's specifically one scene near the opening of the movie with young Furiosa and her mother. I don't want to spoil too much of the movie because, Alexis, you haven't seen it yet, and you should because it's good.
I will.
But yeah, there was one scene where I was like, man, that backdrop is looking like the Star Wars prequels here. Like, it jumped out at me in a way I wasn't expecting it to.
Alexis is like, say more right now.
I am buying a ticket now.
One for Furiosa, please.
You had me at prequels.
Can I have a side note about the prequels?
We cannot.
No,
we cannot.
not
We talked
again.
about the prequels for like 15 minutes last time.
My friend wants to go on like a 2-week trip to Europe, right? And we were like trying to figure out like where we would like go to visit, and I got a video on my TikTok that was like one of the fucking locations where like Padme and Anakin like get engaged or
I
something.
knew where
right?
this was
Yeah,
going.
the one in Italy.
I knew where this was going.
Some
Italy.
Italian lake.
Yes, by the Italian lake. Okay, right? And so I come to work, my 21-year-old nephew's there, and I was like, Nikki, guess what? And I like proceed to like explain this to him, and I was like, guess what I'm trying to see? And he was like, I don't know, Alexis. It's probably some nerd shit. And just like walked away,
are
and I was
correct,
like, well,
sir.
yeah, it was the Star Wars prequels, thank you. And he was like, oh god.
Well, pivoting away from that, I will say my hugely positive note on Furiosa. You know who's fucking cooking with gas in that movie?
I can guess.
Chris fucking Hemsworth.
Yes. Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Hemsworth in like full-blown Australian psycho mode.
Yeah.
He seems like he's having the time of his life. It's just, I think Mick compared it to like Fury Road to Furiosa is kind of like Mission Impossible Fallout to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, where it's a sequel to like one of the great action movies of the past decade that doesn't try to like up the
It's not
action.
trying to redo it.
It tries to kind of go sideways and do something different. But I think the other thing that those two movies have in common is it's a great reclamation project for someone who's maybe not been having their talents used to their full potential in the Marvel machine.
Haley Atwell.
Because, Haley Atwell in Dead Reckoning and Hemsworth in this both just seem so happy to be doing something that's really letting them show off their talents.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. I think some of what I'm kind of grappling with, I think we're all grappling with, is it less good than Fury Road, or is it simply different?
Yeah.
And I think we're all probably like on the same wavelength, or right now we're like, it is less good. But the thing for me, when Fury Road first dropped, I think 2015, I was really hyped for it because I grew up with the Mad Max movies. I was a huge fan, and when I saw it, I went, okay, yeah, that was good. That was really, really good. But I don't know if I loved it as much as I wanted to. But then as time went on, the more I saw it, the more I realized, oh, this is a 5 out of 5. This is a masterpiece. Will I do that with Furiosa? I'm not sure, but I do know that I think, like Fury Road, Furiosa is going to grow on me a bit. I also plan on seeing it again this week, just because it's wormed its way into my brain. There are so many sequences that I keep thinking about, like when Dr. Demence's biker gang goes to the Citadel for the first time. That was one of the...
That rules.
It's so good. The spectacle is huge. Like, the scale has gotten so much bigger, and I have to do a quick shout-out to one of my favorite film critics, Mark Kermode, who described this as David Lean doing a line of Diesel. David Lean, he directed Lawrence of Arabia, he directed Dr. Zhivago. He's known for, like, these huge, wide spectacle films. And I got that sense as I was watching it going that, they've really cranked up just the scale of this.
Yeah.
But they've brought back the pacing. Again, in my review, I described Fury Road as like a series of dominoes hitting each other, where it's just boom, 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 boom. Everything goes to the next. This felt more like a Rube Goldberg machine, where there's sometimes this is kind of slow, other times this is kind of fast, and then it fades in and out of chapters, which is something that Fury Road doesn't do.
Yeah.
So It is different. I didn't love the pacing in the second half specifically as much as I would have liked to, and but I do have to say, I think you're not quite as hype on Anya Taylor-Joy as I am for this.
I thought she was good. I think it was more a thing of the writing.
The character.
Like, just because in Fury Road, she's so active.
Right.
Like, she
more
has
things
so
just
much...
happen to her in this one.
It's, you know, it is her kind of forming as a character. But, yeah.
I thought she, you know, not to constantly compare it to other things, but it reminded me a lot of the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels, where Keira Knightley, who at the time I just kind of considered like this really beautiful kind of a model who's leading these movies.
Yeah.
When I saw the sequels, I went, oh shit, no, she's a boss bitch.
Give her something to do, and she can do it.
Keira Knightley will fucking own your action franchise. And this, I feel like Anya Taylor-Joy is having kind of a similar moment right now with this movie, where she's gorgeous to look at. She could, you know, fucking strut down the runway of any fashion show in the world, but put her in charge of an action franchise and she will carry her fucking weight. Like, she belongs there.
Yeah, and also, like, if someone comes at her from either side, she'll be able to see him because her eyeballs are on the side of her head.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
Cool.
I love Anya Taylor-Joy.
Cool.
That was rude for no fucking reason.
That was low-hanging fruit, buddy.
That was mean for absolutely no reason.
But yeah, no, there was one moment, though, I won't spoil, it has nothing to do with the plot, but there was a moment where someone was on skis. I'll say that. You know of what I speak.
Yes.
And I saw it like when it came. The shots in this movie are so fucking good. I think it's going to go up for me as time goes on. But anyways, the camera comes out and you see this person like wearing like skis on their feet, and
don't wreck it for Alexis.
I'm not going to say it. But when the thing happens, I said out loud in the theater, holy shit. And this like little small petite woman sitting next to me just started giggling and clapping her hands.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. It's just one of those moments where you want to stand up and just cheer. You're like, someone still cares about movies.
Yeah. Someone gives a fuck. It's as I said, as I was watching it in the theater, I had a weird moment where I was watching some spectacular sequences going, God, you know, they just don't make it like they used to anymore. Whoa. Wait a minute! No, this is a new movie.
It's a new film.
Yeah. This is dope as fuck.
Yeah. I'm gonna reiterate my take from our Mad Max Fury Road episode, which is this is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of action movie franchises because it's grimy and it has so many weird guys that I love. And
yes,
only escalates that.
Yeah. I mean, Dr. Dementius, man, Chris Hemsworth is so good.
He was on 100. Has any of you seen God, what's it called? Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yes.
So same sort of thing. Like he's just having like a renaissance with. Like, he stepped out of the Marvel world a little bit, and then he's like, look, guys, I'm just trying to have a little bit of fun here.
Yeah, let him do it. Let him cook.
Yeah, again, Robert Downey Jr. right now with Park Chan-wook, with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth with George Miller.
Cinema is healing.
God, it feels
We're
good,
coming
man.
back.
Yeah, the drought is ending.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Well, speaking of drought, which is kind of like speaking of water, I watched a boat movie.
Oh, what'd you see?
A George Miller produced boat movie, which was Dead Calm.
Nice.
Which was referenced in the making of featurette of Ghost Ship. Go back and listen to our episodes. The lead actress said it was like The Shining meets Dead Calm. I will say Dead Calm is absolutely nothing like Ghost Ship, other than the fact that it is set on a boat.
There's a boat there. Yeah, she's like...
it has Alexis. It's got a pre-Days of Thunder Nicole Kidman. It also has Sam Neill and Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen parts of that. Billy Zane's like the crazy guy who like comes after.
Yes,
them.
Billy Zane is terrorizing a redhead on a boat.
He's zany.
Yeah,
loves
she's
it.
so gorgeous in that movie. I remember seeing that as like a middle schooler and just being like, you know me and my redheads, just
I do. That's why I brought it up.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I really like Dead Calm. Really solid thriller.
I saw that when I was super little.
Yeah.
I have it, but I remember nothing about it.
Potential contender to be discussed on the pod down the line.
Hell yeah.
And then Mick and I actually just got back from a movie.
Yeah. We saw Ron, Akira Kurosawa's adaptation of King Lear. We saw it on 35mm at the Vista Theater.
Okay.
Zach, it was your first time
Yes,
watch.
I
What'd
had
you think?
never seen it. I loved it. It's awesome. It rules. It fucks. A lot of it's very funny.
Yeah, it's funnier than I remember it being.
Yeah, which for an adaptation of a Shakespearean tragedy is always fun.
Yeah.
Kurosawa knows how to fucking stage the hell out of an action sequence.
Insane.
Yeah. I saw that one time during COVID in 2020.
That's the first time I saw it, too.
I don't remember much of it, but I do remember the staging in some of these action scenes and just the general look and blocking in general. The colors and the framing and composition are just on another level with this movie. Everyone should see this movie.
It is required viewing. Yeah, Kurosawa and Shakespeare go together.
Yeah, I
so
really
well.
need to watch Throne of Blood.
I might like Throne of Blood even more than Ron.
Wow.
But to be fair, it's been a few
Hot
years
take.
since I've seen it. But
Hot
Throne of Blood's really good.
That Kurosawa, pretty good at making movies.
Wow, I can't believe you would say that.
Yeah.
He's all right.
I'm out here,
Jesus.
But yeah, that's pretty much the stuff that I watched. I saw a few other things, but I don't want to stretch what's going on into eternity.
Yeah, I really quickly, I'm not going to stretch it into eternity, but I will shout out 2 other new releases that I saw really quickly. We had a date night and we saw Back to Black. This is the Amy Winehouse film, and as someone who went to London last year at the end of the year and hung out in Camden Town, which is where she lived and shit. It was really cool. Great. It was really cool to see that part of town again, and it's so many people were just day drinking at the pub, and I gotta say I do miss that. That was a good, accurate detail.
The thing you miss about Britain is alcoholism.
They
have to day drink
no one
because
drinks
they're in
like
fucking
them.
England.
No one drinks. You know what? And they'd be the first ones to probably agree with that. But other than that, aside from a pretty banging soundtrack, but I'm not going to give it points for that because it's an Amy Winehouse biopic.
Yeah,
not a good movie. It's bad. I think it's a bad portrayal. I think they should have cast someone else. It was cringy in there were just scenes that just felt awkward to be a part of. I don't know. Just wasn't well written.
What else did you watch?
It wasn't well directed, and I didn't know it, but it's directed by Sam Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, who did 50 Shades of Grey.
Or fucking Sam, what's her name?
Sam Taylor-Johnson.
Johnson, that's what it is.
Aaron Taylor. Alexis
Aaron
is
Taylor-Johnson's groomer, and apparently Gooner directed this. Not a big fan. Not well directed. She biffed it. She woofed it. Don't watch it. I also saw Ryosuke Hamaguchi's newest movie. He directed Drive My Car, and I saw Evil Does Not Exist.
Oh, man, I meant to see that. How was it?
It was really good. It's very slow. It's slower than Drive My Car.
It's shorter than Drive My Car.
It's shorter than Drive My Car. There is a 20-minute long town hearing scene where it almost feels like nothing's cut out. It's just a town hearing scene.
Telling me we're watching a lot of process?
We're seeing a lot of process. The stakes are seemingly super low. It feels super innocuous. I'm an hour and a half into it, and I'm so we're just hanging out with people.
That's brave.
And it's a building project that they want to make a glamping site. Okay. And then
I'm in.
The last 15
sounds boring as hell. I'm fucking in.
It is. But it's super good though. It's very meditative, just like Drive My Car. But then the last 15 minutes happen, and I'm not going to say what happens in the last 15 minutes. But what a bold, heavy-handed way of ending a movie that up until that moment has been super hanging out, doing process. I'm getting water out of a creek. You see that 5 times in the movie, and then it has an ending that legit had me go, holy fuck.
Slow-mo action sequence?
That's a fucking way to end that. Okay. And I just Googled it, like, what does that ending mean? And there are so many people going, have you seen Evil Does Not Exist? What the fuck happened in the last 15 minutes?
Okay, all right.
Check it out. If you like Drive My Car, you have good taste.
And go and listen to our episode.
Listen to our episode. That's right. We covered it during Asian Cinema Month. Check out Evil Does Not Exist. It's a great environmentalist film. Yeah, pretty good.
Fuck yeah. All right. Do we have anything else going on?
Kenny, have you seen anything else?
I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes as well.
Oh, okay. What did you think?
I did like that. I think that's the best VFX we've ever done. I'll just say that out loud.
Fair.
Just complete blanket statement. I don't think we've done any better. I don't really see us getting any better, but like just stepping aside from that, now that I've had more time to step away from it, I did initially like sort of think like, oh, it's set so far after the other films. This is going to be like kind of strange and weird, but what was going on once you did get involved with the other characters, and it's like, okay, I'm starting to get along with what they're doing and then how they're setting up the human aspect. I'm not totally sold yet, but I'm definitely interested to see where the hell is this going now?
Same.
How are they connecting this to like the original trilogy that happened, or what's the general idea here? So I'm on board with that aspect.
Nice.
Yeah, I will say if it's, it's starting in a better place than the first Planet of the Apes trilogy started. So, if it's a Rise to Dawn style jump, then I'll be in love with the next movie.
Well, something we didn't discuss when we previously talked about it in our What's Going On is I like that it's continuing the tradition of every other of the latest Apes films, continuing that every movie has like weirdly good character actor casting.
Yeah.
Like the first one you get John Lithgow.
Yes.
The second one you get Gary Oldman. The third one you get Woody Harrelson. And this one
you get William H. Macy.
Like when William H. Macy showed, I was like, oh fuck.
Put Giamatti back in it. He'll do
Honestly,
another one.
yes, he wants to.
Yeah,
Although
he'd be
he
great.
will not accept playing a person.
Yeah,
so
he has to be a monkey.
He has to be monkeying around.
Also, no, never mind. Well, I was just saying he has a podcast right now, and you should listen to it. It's very funny. He just
Don't
talked
defer
about,
credit outside of this room.
I'm just saying he has a podcast. It's Paul
wrong with
Giamatti. His podcast is pretty good.
Giamatti's eating our fucking lunch out here. You're helping him? Come on.
Hey man, I like Giamatti.
Is he sponsored by In-N-Out?
I bet he's trying to be. The amount of times that motherfucker goes there. But yeah, no, I'm glad you watched it. I'm super on board. I'm ready for more monkey business.
All right, and with that, let's hop out of what's going on. And we're back.
We are back.
Oh my god, what is that?
Oh, you know what it is.
Is that...
Don't tease me.
Is that the dock? Oh my god, we're coming up to the dock.
That's not how you spell it, but it is the...
We're... Alright. We're weighing anchor. We're weighing anchor.
Welcome to the Film Majors. Good God, oh boy.
Alright. It is the end of boat month.
It's the end of boat month. Yeah, it's been a long boat month. We've got I lucked out, I should say. I got 5 Fridays.
Yeah, both you and Alexis are lucking out this year.
I can't wait. I can't wait for whatever happens during her birthday month. I feel like I know what's going to happen, but I'm regardless very excited. But this is the end of boat month. It legit bums me out.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
It'll
I love
be
boat
okay.
month so much.
It's gonna be okay.
But it's okay because there's going to be boat month next year, and it's just the best time of year. It's like Christmas but better and less Christian.
And more boats.
And more boats.
Way more boats.
Way more boats, dude. That's the problem with Jesus.
Not enough boats.
Not enough boats.
He didn't ever get on a boat. He was
only-
walking on the
the
water
only
when he
bibli-
could have gotten on a boat.
The only biblical story that means jack shit is Noah in the ark. Everything else is boring because there's a boat. It's fantastic.
Hell yeah,
No,
brother.
that's not
So-
true, actually, because...
Wait, really? Don't make me
Well-
Christian because I'll do it.
Is that a
Well,
threat?
That's
I mean,
I will become.
in Egypt, obviously the pharaohs were constantly going up and down that river, So I don't know if you've seen the Prince of Egypt, but they are in a boat when he turns the water to blood. So
Hold on. Is A Prince of Egypt a boat movie?
Mick is edging right now.
oh my god, it's not a
What
boat movie, but there
constitutes
is
a
a
boat
boat
movie?
in it.
So that is a great question, Kenny. What constitutes a boat movie? Now, that's actually...
This has been discussed.
This has been discussed before.
Not on the podcast, though.
No, so what constitutes a boat movie? Define your terms, Mick. Thank you for holding me to that. So a boat movie, okay, I think the best way to define it is by first giving examples of what could be boat movies, but are not, okay? So I'm gonna throw it under the bus again. Sorry if you just listened to our last episode, but Treasure Planet. Okay, look, if you like the movie, that's great. I really enjoyed it too. But there are like space boats in it. Not a boat. What's it missing? It's missing water. You need water.
Vital element of boats.
Now, okay, here's another one. What about Castaway? Right? Well, that has a boat in it that has water.
He makes a raft.
It's
more of a plane movie.
It's a plane.
But the thing is, most of the movie...
He's barely on the damn plane.
He's barely on the plane, but he's barely on the boat. You know what that is? That is a, like, deserted island movie. Like, the setting has to... I would say a good portion of the movie's setting has to be on a boat. Or
No.
a major... No, sorry. But a major like plot point has to be revolved around a boat.
No,
as well.
Because you literally just specified that it can't just be a boat because you disqualified Treasure Planet. It has to be a boat in water. So you need to specify that. A boat in water. On water.
Okay.
Traversing the waters.
But
Here's a question. Yes, okay. Does The Usual Suspects count as a boat movie?
no.
Because the boat doesn't traverse the water.
Right. Well,
So
that's
the
not,
boat has to be in motion at some point.
the boat has to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think you're right. I think the boat does have to be in motion.
Thank you,
but the thing-
Alexis. Good
yes,
point.
good-
Mick
good
tried
point.
to shoot you down.
Good point.
But God damn it, his cannonball landed in the water.
Yeah, most of the movie has to be on a boat. Like, there's a lot. Like our first boat movie that we ever had with Jaws. Now, a lot of that movie isn't on a boat, but most of
The last half
of it exactly takes place on a boat. So that's
and there's
what
boats
constitutes.
before that as well.
There's boats before it, but like, you know, of course you
It
can
has
go
an
on land
iconic boat.
for sure.
That also helps.
Yes, you need an iconic boat. It needs to be like the main setting. It needs to be traversing the water. Like that constitutes a boat movie. So,
All of that
Here-
said, what's our big topic?
all of that said, our big topic for this episode is: what are some fictional narrative films, conventionally fictional narrative, that really begin to blur the lines with what we define as documentary?
All right.
Now, there you can go into the whole like the whole like snake pit of like, well, you know, documentaries are also, you know, there's just as much artifice in there because you are molding the narrative, which
But
is
we
true.
don't have to go into that.
But we don't have to, and we won't. So when we talk about a documentary, let's not get all super film school nerd filmmakery about it, which is weird because that is our show. But what are some examples? Narrative that it's kind of like a documentary.
All right.
Anyone want to go first?
Kenny?
Yeah, so I have one. It is a film called Windy City Heat. It is
Windy City Heat.
Yes, it's directed by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, shit.
And it is a comedy, and I've only seen it the one time, and so my memory's a little fuzzy on everything, but the general concept is it's shot like a mockumentary, but it's actually a documentary about them, like a bunch of guys playing a trick on an actor friend of theirs. They are pretending that he's being put into this movie. There's fake investors, fake actors, fake crew, fake everything, and they're just fucking with him the entire
crazy.
time. And then at the end, like, I'm not going to spoil what ends up going on, but it's portrayed like this guy's life is actually ruined with all the shit they keep doing to him. And if you read reviews and comments and look at interviews, people involved in it still kind of hold the fact that they're like, no, this was real, this happened, but it's also like a slight wink. So I'm not quite sure if this is real or not.
Interesting.
That is weird. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was just one day when I was doing my usual director stalking on IMDb,
Tight.
which I recommend.
Gotta do it.
I was watching Best in Show, and so I
Love
was
that
just
movie.
going down the list, and I was like,
Christopher
what the hell?
Guest.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell's Windy City Heat? Just like clicking on different people's profiles, and eventually came across this, and I don't even remember where I found it, but it's definitely worth a watch. I definitely recommend it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's okay. So you raised kind of a good point. Like, we're not. That's a really good example. But like, let's talk about like best in show.
Yes,
that's a really good example of. Some people don't like this term, but a mockumentary.
Yes.
Now that is not what we're talking about. A mockumentary is a purely, fictional film with actors and everything that is styled like a documentary. It's presented like one.
Yes.
But this sounds more like something like Borat.
Yes.
Where there's a written narrative, but you're interacting with a real person.
Those
or
are
real
people not in on it.
Yes, exactly. It's like a really big, huge practical joke, and at the end, prank. You're just like, why?
Yeah.
What did this man do to deserve all of this? That is so diabolically evil.
That's going to go on my list.
Yeah, I might have to watch that, honestly.
So to get a little more metaphorical about it, my pick is... all of the later Mission Impossible movies are kind of... I'm kind of stealing this take. But those movies are kind of documentaries about making a Mission Impossible movie a little bit. Like, they shoot a Mission Impossible movie as you would do an IMF mission, where they're improvising a lot, they're doing the stunts for real. Ethan Hunt has kind of... essentially become an analog for how we, as a public, view Tom Cruise as this sort of driven maniac who will absolutely stop at nothing to achieve his goal of saving the movies. Similarly to how Ethan Hunt is this singularly obsessed man.
It's like, what you're saying is like it's super meta.
I think that the process of making the movie is very similar to the narratives that the movie is presenting, which I think is relevant to the movie we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Like, I remember, this isn't a Mission Impossible, but I remember a reaction that people had when the first Top Gun trailer dropped of Maverick. And if you remember, it starts with Ed Harris being like, you've been doing this for like 20 years. And despite your best efforts, you refuse to die. And people are going, they're not talking about Maverick. That's
about
very much about Tom Cruise as a person.
Yes.
Okay, so that's kind of what you mean about Mission Impossible. Okay.
Yeah, they are kind of a meta-narrative about their star and about the process of making those movies.
Nice. Alexis?
I have no idea. I don't actually think that I've watched any movies that are like that.
I actually know for a fact you have, and I hope you agree with me when I say my pick, because I know we've both seen it. There are two movies this year that I've seen that I've given 5 stars to.
Oh, you're going to play Origin?
Origin
I thought about
by
that,
Ava
and I
DuVernay.
Wasn't sure.
Yeah, so if you've seen Origin, directed by Ava DuVernay, that is based on a book that I actually just finished. I just finished reading Cass by Isabella Wilkerson. And tremendous book. Difficult to read for sure, because it goes into very complex, very, topics that are just really difficult to comprehend, and it's just difficult to sit with. Because the world fucking sucks. The caste system is very real. But this movie is about the caste system, which is like a social hierarchy that exists within India, but applies to really, it's not just India, like every place really has a caste system, especially the United States. And they are exceedingly good at it, to the point of the Nazi Third Reich studied Jim Crow law. Nazi lawyers studied Jim Crow politics to figure out how to best implement this for them to deal with the Jews and other, what they talk in the book, like undesirables or the untouchables.
Right.
The movie...
Not the Brian De Palma film.
The movie Origin is
That's fair.
About the author, where there are moments where they actually interview people that have been affected by this. So it's almost like testimonials that they put into the movie. Like, there's this whole sequence where Isabella Wilkerson goes to India and interviews like Indian scholars who are of the lowest caste. Dalits, I believe is what they're called, or the Untouchables, and it was it's a globe-trotting film. It's heavily steeped in literature. You know, she goes to Berlin, and she goes to real Holocaust museums, and at that point, yes, this is a paid actor who is playing the author, Isabel, about the writing of the book, but they just take camera crews to, like, Treblinka. They just take camera crews to, monuments or to, like, Jim Crow history. Like, they just take a film crew and they go to these museums and they go to these places. And there are scenes that capture basically, like, the lowest caste in India doing some of the most dehumanizing work. And those aren't paid actors. Like, those are people that are actually diving into a pit of just bile and feces and shit, because that's what their job is. They have, like, the most inhuman work imaginable, but someone has to do it, quote unquote. So yeah, fictional film, but it's definitely, I think, a really good example of it kind of, in a way, you could argue is a bit of a documentary.
Okay.
Yeah, super good movie. Check it out. Have you seen it?
Yes.
What did you think of the movie?
Yes, the exact same thing. I had never even heard of the caste system at all. Mm-hmm. So in the aspect of it not being a documentary, but essentially going down that path with how much information and just like general learning it was teaching, it was giving to people. But yes, everything you were saying about just the people over in India and the jobs they have to do and the protections that they don't have. I believe they were like lathering themselves up in like grease to go down into the pits or whatever it was. But yeah, it was a film that I saw a early test screening for, and then it just never really came out.
It did briefly earlier this year.
Yeah, it got like a really limited release.
So I don't know if it's like, if it's done, or were they testing something to see if it would come out in a wider market, but it definitely should.
Yeah.
People should see that movie. I don't even think most people know about its existence.
Yeah, I cried like a motherfucker watching that movie. Like, that's one I knew. I was like, oh, this is a 5-star movie, because I put on, like a pathetic guy I am, I put on the soundtrack to the movie on Spotify driving home, and I just cried all over again. It's like, fuck, man.
That John Bernthal.
Who'd have thought? I mean, he's like a tough guy. You know, he's the fucking Punisher, but he's also the Punisher of my tear ducts.
Yeah, it's like,
because,
come on,
I
you can't do this
so much.
We can't have this happening here.
Yeah, good movie. Does anyone else have any other possible things they want to shout out?
I think the obvious choice would be something like Blair Witch would like fall, or do you think so?
Is that more mockumentary, or is that like, how do we define that one?
Because my whole thing with that one is the, like, after the movie was done, hijinks of it all with like hiding the cast and like making it. So that's the only aspect of it that I would say kind of fits.
Yeah.
And like the cast is going out with like a rough script and just like shooting whatever. And then they're just like putting it together. So it like kind of falls in that area. Right. Also just kind of falls into like genius cheap filmmaking in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Once again, independent cinema, you gotta love horror if you love independent cinema. One other quick shout out.
Alexis?
Oh, go ahead.
Can we count Bo Burnham's Inside? Because I feel like...
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, it is like completely written as like, not exactly a narrative completely, but each piece of it, you know, I feel like I always have a double take of like, how much of this is just real, you know, and how much of it is artifice, you know.
I think that's a great poll. That was my kind of initial reaction to that. Was like, how much of this is just what he was going through during the pandemic, and how much of this is like him trying to, you know, create something commenting on this.
I remember I watched that with you, Alexis, and I remember at the time a lot of like the discourse about that was, this is really well done, this is like super funny, the music is really good. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll watch this, gonna have a good time. bummed the fuck out of me.
I
was a little
destroyed.
I was super depressed by that. I was like, I'm not
still
having a good time.
maintain that people who thought it was like really funny have been like in the trenches of like mental illness like for a really long
All right,
time.
I guess fuck me, Alexa. It's
I
fine.
guess I don't know what suffering is.
Mick, what's your last one?
Well, last one really quickly is like, what would you think about Adam McKay's latest movies? Like Vice and the
The Big
one
Short.
he did, The Big Short. Yeah, like
love The Big
those
Short.
are super like narrative fiction, but then they keep having like sidebars to camera where they talk about like real statistics and like, by the way, this is a real thing. Here's what these fuckers did. I don't know. He's kind of
I feel like he's leaning closer to like video essay.
yes.
Then
I think you're
documentary.
right. Yeah, for sure.
It's like a pseudo
So then-
video doc or mockumentary kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. So then would like Dumb Money have been kind of like that same thing?
If it's in that same style, yeah, I didn't see Dumb Money.
Is that the Seth Rogen one about the?
The meme
Yes,
stuff.
the Paul
Right.
Dano, yeah.
Well, the reason we're talking about this is because we're about to discuss our final film of Boat Month.
Yeah.
And that is Werner Herzog's 1982 adventure drama, Fitzcarraldo. And now I will read the description. Or Mick, if you would like to, you go ahead.
I'll do that if that's cool here. Let's see here. Okay, Fitzcarraldo, Werner Herzog, opera-loving European Brian Fitzgerald, played by Klaus Kinski, lives in
The goat.
Jesus Christ, lives in a small Peruvian city. Better known as Fitzcarraldo, this foreigner is obsessed with building an opera house in his town and decides that to make it his dream a reality, he needs to make a killing in the rubber business. In order to become a successful rubber baron, Fitzcarraldo hatches an elaborate plan that calls for a particularly impressive feat: bringing a massive boat over a mountain with the help of a band of natives. All right. So I know for a fact that this was Alexis's and Zach's and my first watch. Kenny,
Yes.
had you seen this before?
Yes, once in college when I first discovered the aura that is Werner Herzog.
The Herzog aura.
Yes, a teacher told me, like, showed us a video in class of him boiling his boot and eating it. And it's
Yeah.
like it's if you haven't seen that, you should just start there.
Isn't that a bit from SpongeBob?
It is Werner Herzog eating his boot.
I forget the specifics, but he like made a bet, I believe, with a documentary filmmaker about if I believe it may have been Earl Morris with Thin Blue Line, something about if you get this made, then I will boil my shoe and eat it.
Yep.
And so he did it.
Yeah.
He's a man of his
Did you
word.
know about this?
Yes, I did.
He's a man
yeah,
of his word.
It's one of those things where he's later been like,
I hope that this serves to motivate other filmmakers, that they can believe that their dreams are possible.
What a great man.
I love him.
He stole a camera from his film school. Like, I just love it.
That's like the most light shit he's ever done.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
definitely.
think most of us
get
have done
there.
that. Yeah. But okay, so to our other regular film majors, what did we think of Fitzcarraldo, Alexis?
It's a good response.
Yeah.
So, full disclosure,
Here it is.
I did not start this movie until like 4:45 today, and I was really tired, so I definitely fell asleep a couple of times. More like purposefully like napped a little, and I, to be honest, I'm not sure that I missed much. Because I was like, oh yeah, so they're continuing down the river. Oh, I just woke up and they're still on the river. Cool. Okay, great. So they're still on the river. And then you guys were like 7:30. I was like, okay, for sure. But I didn't account for the ad time on Tubi. So I actually didn't finish the movie. So, what I saw of it was
Damn.
impressive. in like the naturey way. I was really into the opera part at the beginning. I was like, that's my man. He's like really into some Giuseppe Verdi, you know, over here, Verdi.
Of
whatever.
course.
I was like, okay, I see you. And then I was like, you're fucking kooky, man. You're Looney Tooney out here.
Looney Tooney. Yeah.
Our finest film critic, Alexis Avitia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Doing the hard work. God damn.
Can confirm you did not miss much, though, if you fell
Yeah,
asleep.
no, I mean, if there's a movie to do that with, this might be one of the better ones.
It is a lot of very meditative shots of people on a river.
Yes.
Looks cool. Looks cool.
It looks great.
Looks
It is
cool.
beautiful. Zach, what did you think?
So I had kind of an interesting experience with this movie. So I started it earlier in the week, and then I had to stop because I had to go to work, and then I started working on an indie horror movie that shot later and later and later.
You had 8 to 8.
Yes, so I watched it before my 8 to 8 shoot.
8 p.m. to
which
8
I
a.m.
then had to...
That's bad, right?
I left early because I ate tree nuts on accident.
Because you were hungry?
No, because they didn't fucking mark it.
I thought you meant like you were just out on set and you were
I was
really
like,
hungry.
I'm gonna give myself an allergic
I'm gonna
reaction
eat these
to leave.
pine cones.
No. But yeah, so I watched this movie pretty fucking tired, and did not fall asleep because I'm built different. But while I was watching it, our roommate Jacoby gave me some Klaus Kinski facts.
Yeah.
Which definitely affected my enjoyment
we'll
of the film a little bit.
We'll get into it.
But generally, I thought it was interesting. I think it's an interesting movie about, like, the sort of virtue of art for art's sake. I don't know if I necessarily come down in total agreement with where Herzog lands on that, because there was some pretty fucked up exploitative shit going on this set.
A little bit.
But you cannot deny that this is a impressive feat and like is something that will stand the test of time. The sequence where they move the boat over the mountain is just like genuinely one of the craziest things I've ever seen in a movie. In a movie that is, you know, pretty fucking chill for a lot of it, pretty meditative. Yeah, those were my general thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much with y'all. I think we all have a pretty general consensus here. This was my first time watching it, as I've said. The reason that we are watching it is because if you have been listening to our latest Boat Month episodes, this year I decided to do a Riverboat trilogy. And this was the last leg of the Riverboat trilogy. And in a way, it's actually Riverboat Jungle trilogy.
Yeah.
And a common theme, the first one we covered was Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. The second one we covered was John Huston's African Queen. And now the third one is Werner Herzog's Fitzcarraldo. And there is a running theme, a spine that you could say, which is that every time you make a riverboat movie in the jungle, or just a jungle movie in general, it's going to be a really hard task. It's going to be a bad time. And this is no different. In fact, this could be one of the worst. But actually, I don't know. I listened to some of the other things that we've uncovered about the other movies we
African
covered.
Queen's pretty fucking rough.
Yeah,
there was cannibalism.
There was cannibalism
there.
on that one. But it was accidental cannibalism.
Question?
They hired a local guy to source some meat for them.
I've always wanted to see this movie. I've always been fascinated. I've never seen Klaus Kinski, but every time he has such a distinctive face. He's got like a Willem Dafoe face, where it's like not a pretty person, but like so you photograph so well. You look. You have emotion.
He's got a compelling face.
Yeah, compelling face.
This face needs to be on camera.
In fact, Roger Deakins has often applauded the Coen brothers, to which they're collaborators quite often. He likes that they always cast people with unique faces because he says, I always find that way more interesting to photograph. And Klaus Kinski, I think, is just, one of those people. And I've always seen that famous Fitzcarraldo poster where you have Fitzcarraldo standing in his white coat looking at this steamboat that is propped up on this very steep incline being pushed over a mountain, going like, what an iconic image. I want to watch it. And I had never seen a Werner Herzog narrative before. The only other Werner Herzog movie I've seen before this was Grizzly Man.
And I have to correction corner myself because I said I had not seen a Herzog movie last time. I have. I've seen Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans, which is insane.
I'll have to watch that. That's with Nick Cage, right?
Yes.
Shoot him again. His soul's still dancing.
I appreciate this movie for what it is. I am impressed with it. It is a monumental achievement. It's kind of the definition of that. But by the same token, I wasn't necessarily entertained. I wasn't super into the plot. And I also, maybe this is just like the Western viewer in me that just like, I like to have people like kind of reap what they sow a bit in my movies. I didn't love the ending. And we'll go into that a little bit, but I think Klaus Kinski's character, Fitzcarraldo, should have failed. I wanted that to be the ending, and we almost got it, but at the very end, everything goes his way in a weird sort of way. He gets his opera. But we're talking about movies that kind of blur the line between narrative and documentary because Fitzcarraldo portrays native tribes people helping this rubber baron move a boat over a mountain, and yeah, like that'll be a set piece. We'll do it practically. Now, when you say we're going to do something practically, like, if you're having a war movie, but you want to do practical effects, that doesn't mean we're going to use dynamite and real bullets. Yeah, which is why I'm glad that Werner Herzog hasn't made a war film.
Yeah, he has.
Has he?
Agira, the Wrath of God.
Oh, okay. Well,
and apparently
Klaus Kinski.
Shot somebody's finger off on that set.
So that kind of proves what I'm saying here, which is like in this movie, they actually take a boat and they push it over a mountain using native indigenous tribes as laborers. And at a certain point, like the footage is getting super gritty. It's getting super just like, this is horrific, this is hellish, and I know that this isn't like, and background action and go. This is like, no, these are people that are just laboring, and let's just get B-roll, and we'll cut it into like, yeah, this is like a movie. So it's like, go ahead.
I was reading that he got a Brazilian like engineer to come up with the plan of how to, like, the pulley system that they were using to get it up the hill, but that the guy, like, quit because he was like, I'm telling you, at some point it's gonna break and it's gonna kill people maybe, and he quit because of that, because he's like, I can't stay on for this plan. Yeah, and I was just like, that's wild.
And believe it or not, it didn't break. That was not one of the problems that they had, which thank God it didn't. There were plenty of other problems that happened on set.
Yeah.
Like people died in the making of this movie.
Rival tribes coming over shooting arrows.
Yeah. So
burning the camp down.
So what's the name of the documentary that we watched?
The Burden of Dreams.
The Burden of Dreams. You watched it, right?
Yes, I love the doc is 10 times better than the movie.
I agree.
And
watch the doc.
It's interesting watching the two because I start to wonder, was Werner making this movie about himself?
Right.
Is he Klaus Kinski's character, and he's going through all of this to make this film, and his character's going through all this to bring this opera to the jungle? Does he see himself as like this filmmaker putting everything he has into making this film, and it just so happened in this way he's like, I want to move this boat over this hill and I'm going to do it for real and show that it's real and it's not fake, and there are no studios, there are no sound stages, it is for real. But then you just literally have people pulling a boat up a hill and people are dying and getting shot, and We've worked on sets before. I could not imagine working on that set.
Yeah, no, terrible.
Yeah, this is maybe the number one set of any movie we've ever covered that I don't want to work on.
Yeah, no, bad time. Yeah.
I think I'd maybe rather eat the people on African Queen.
I mean, at least that was cooked. You know? But yeah, like the story that you talked about, someone got shot. So apparently there was a lot of production stuff that happened with this. So they originally started with Jason Robards as Fitzcarraldo. And weirdly,
he had a trusty sidekick.
Played by Mick Jagger. And we saw the footage of it, and I can't believe that I watched footage that made me go, well, thank God they got Klaus Kinski, because not working. They shot 40% of the story, but Jason Robards got major dysentery.
Yeah, and his doctor said he couldn't return.
Which, by the way, every Jungle Boat movie that we've covered this month, everyone gets dysentery. It's a rite of passage. So in those movies, they didn't recast anybody. So skill issue, as Zach says, major L. But also not a major L, because it wouldn't have been...
It would have been bad.
It would have been bad. And Fitzcarraldo is not a bad movie. I don't know if it's a great movie, but I didn't like what they did with Jason Robards and Mick Jagger. That was very odd. But because there were all these delays in the schedule...
opera house, baby.
I don't know why Mick Jagger's Austin
man. Yeah, totally.
His reasoning for not recasting Mick Jagger because he's too perfect. It's a lie.
That's some bullshit I've heard.
I just can't do it.
I joke that
He was simply too compelling.
when he lost his actors, he had to go to the financiers in Germany to try to keep it all together. And I joked, I wonder if all he did to keep the financiers on board, proof that I need to reshoot this with a new actor, is just show them the footage he's gotten so far. And they're like, yeah, no, we got to start from scratch. This ain't working.
We can't go on.
We can't do this. But so they had the schedule got pushed, and because of that, they were no longer going to shoot during the wet season. During the wet season in the Amazon jungle, the riverbank is much higher. It's 20 feet higher. But because they shot during the dry season, the river was really low. So there was a lot of mud and beaches, basically, that had formed, which is going to make pushing a steamboat downriver really difficult because the water's really shallow. And on top of that, we found out that all of the local native tribes people that were helping, a common thing that's a food source for them is when, during dry season, the river gets really low, turtles lay their eggs on the muddy embankment. And tribes people will come down and get those eggs, and that's, it's part of their food source. Apparently, at one point, some of the tribes people, if I get this right, they were part of the movie production, went down to get some of those eggs, and a rival tribe, across the riverbank, that was not involved with the film, saw that as them impeding on their territory?
Yeah, something like that. And then they shot one woman, I believe, twice with an arrow, and another guy one time, through the neck.
Yeah,
my God.
A guy, and there's footage of it in the documentary of the set medic having to sew this guy's neck back up because they pulled an arrow out from it. And yeah, she had gotten hit from the side, and of course, as we would expect, it then cuts to Werner Herzog going, they are killing us. They are saying that we are, we're destroying their lands and stuff like that. That sounded a little Trumpy, but that's not a great.
Let me tell you, folks.
Let me tell you,
These are very nasty people.
These tribes
trying
people,
to stop my boat from going up a hill. Beautiful boat going up a hill, like you wouldn't believe.
You cannot make great cinema without first a great
I
suffering.
pushed a big boat. I looked at that boat. I said, "Wow, that's a big boat."
Yeah, so there's some pretty shitty
Alexis
things.
just fully fucking slumped on that.
She's dead.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, so some pretty crazy behind the scenes things happened on this.
I often wonder if the movie was not just buried in so much making of drama, would it be better? Because some of the acting doesn't work all of the time. Some of it is a little dated with how it's shot and the quality of the audio and some of the cinematography, and knowing how they were getting it done. it totally makes sense. But I wonder if they actually had like a crew. Would this movie be better? What's holding it back?
I want to say yes. I think so.
Would it be remembered more though?
Well, that's the thing. Is like I don't know if this makes Fitzcarraldo better is the controversy behind it. I would argue it makes it worse. Personally,
If it was a better movie.
if it was a better movie, yeah. I mean, I don't think that the bad that happened behind set outweighs the good. That's the exception, because so far what we've covered is Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now, which, it's a tricky thing to say.
Happen.
A lot of bad things happen, but at the end of the day, that movie's such a fucking masterpiece that it's kind of like, I can't be mad that it went down the way it did.
I don't know how you managed to make that into that.
Exactly.
But do it again.
Do it again. I said say more right now.
I'm gonna say hot take. I hope nobody treats their crew like that.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Of course. Yes.
But maybe.
Yeah, exactly. The yes, but maybe. But the thing about Fitzcarraldo is like the final product. I don't know if it's good enough to warrant what happened behind. The safe take is no movie's good enough to warrant that kind of behavior, and that's of course, true. But for legal reasons, that is how we feel. That is our take officially. But anyways, going back into how we really feel. Yeah, I'm not that hot about this movie. I'm not gonna say I'm glad it exists, but yeah. So when they get the boat over the mountain, and the tribe's leader cuts it loose to go downriver. I thought the movie was going to end with the boat disintegrating on the river, and this whole thing would be for nothing. And it was basically going to tell the story of, this Klaus Kinski, this Fitzcarraldo, who was taking advantage of the fact that there's a local legend of a white god that will show them that this is all a dream, and that this is, the real reality is in the afterlife, that he was trying to control this and was using the tribe's people for his own gain, when at the end of the day, they were in control the entire time, and you're just fucking here because they're allowing it. And the movie would end with them being like, you know what? Yeah, no, fuck these people. Cut the boat loose. You're done. And I was kind of hoping it would end in like, oh, this was all for nothing. But then the boat floats back down to where he came, and he, everyone's like, wow, we're really impressed. Fuck, man, you're still alive. Like, we were all taking bets about how quick you were going to go bankrupt. And hello, here's your band of opera players and your like symphony. And it ends with him gleefully being atop his vessel, not having really broken into the rubber trade, but he gets his opera. And I don't know how you guys feel.
That's why I think it's about Werner Herzog. I
Yeah,
think
you're
he's just
probably right.
putting himself into this movie as this character.
Yeah, the fact that he gets his opera is Werner Herzog going, you see,
I have created my film.
I've got my movie.
My dreams have come to reality, and they are horrifying.
Because is there even another filmmaker that like dabbles in both narrative and documentary as much as he does?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like he's all over the place. He's been on like every continent and been like in every country.
Yeah, no, it's Alexis. Did you have something you were gonna add?
Yeah. So, like, would we say that the boat going up the hill is like a metaphor for the burden of his dreams?
Whoa.
Indeed.
Oh my god.
Inception.
Alexis Avita, that was a good take. Take it away.
You're back to Trump.
Okay, my other side note was like when you guys were talking about the end of the movie, I was like, gosh, it's crazy how in a 3-hour movie, practically 3-hour movie, so much nothing can happen for 2 hours.
Honestly,
and then everything else
You're not
happens in
wrong.
the last 30 minutes I did not see.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, Alexis, you slept through the wrong part of this movie.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I do want to shout out the most Werner Herzog line ever written.
Oh yeah.
Is it the birds?
We can't seem to shake them of the illusion that our reality is only an illusion behind which lies the reality of dreams.
Yeah, I
I'm
remember
so
when
tired of
that
Werner Herzog.
We're just getting started, baby.
when that was spoken on screen. I remember looking over at Zach going, "That's the most Werner Herzog shit I've ever heard."
Yes, there cannot be peace without first
feel
a
like-
great suffering.
I feel like that was one of those things where they go, "All right, we're still rolling. All right, now say this," and he throws him a line.
Deliver this
And
line of
that's what it
dialogue.
was. Yeah. So, if we may, Klaus Kinski.
Yeah, Kenny, what are your feelings on Mr. Kinski?
So I have seen a little bit. I've seen half of a documentary that Werner made about the two of
My best
them,
friend.
their relationship. But it was while I was watching Fitzcarraldo and then I watched Burden of Dreams that I started finding things about Klaus that I did not know. And yeah, that obviously changes a lot of things because I believe it was his daughters were talking about being like sexually assaulted by him when they were children.
Yeah.
And
so
We talk about separating the art from the artist.
yes,
it's a really tough one.
Yeah,
do
this
with
one
that.
I don't know if I can do.
Even though he's dead, which, does sometimes help.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other thing.
Wait, may I say
You
this?
may, because we were already. So this was the thing.
Yeah.
Jacoby clued me into this about Klaus Kinski when we were about 40 minutes into Fitzcarraldo, and I was like, I really wish you had told me this after the movie,
Yeah.
because now this is at the front of my brain.
yeah.
But then Mick learned another really fun fact, because, I was thinking, man, this guy seems like a real jerk. But then Mick added this little thing that really kind of recontextualized Klaus Kinski.
I think he's a really good actor, and one might wonder, as I did, where did he get his acting training? How did Klaus get started going down the road of being an actor? Well, yes, there are very heavy sexual abuse allegations levied against him by his own kin. Terrible. But
Only one of his children showed up to his funeral.
If I may make it worse, he got started in acting because he was enlisted in the German army during World War II. And on his second day of combat with the Nazis, he gets imprisoned by the British Army, and in prisoner of war camp, he starts doing drama with his fellow German actors, or German prisoners of war. So Klaus Kinski got his acting start after being caught as a Nazi and starting a drama club.
How did we not know that?
I know!
What?
You know that SpongeBob meme where it's just like I'ma head out. That's me.
Yeah.
That's me right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna head out.
There's too much information. I don't need to unpack this. I'm just gonna go.
So we had that like really dark joke. It was like, gee, like that's what he did in his personal life. Well, God, where did he train?
Oh, with the Nazis.
With the Nazis. Did I just say I did not see that coming?
Oh, good. Great. That's awesome. That's clean.
Yeah, so Klaus Kinski, he's not a good guy.
Yeah, maybe one of cinema's biggest pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I was also reading that the tribes people disliked him so much that at some point one of the leader was like, I will kill him for you if you want. And Werner Herzog was like, I really don't want to recast at this point.
He considered it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, the fact that Klaus Kinski's life hinged on the fact of Werner Herzog going, God, I've already recast this once. I can't do it again.
Never let this go.
And that is not the first time where Werner Herzog considered killing him.
Why do you keep casting him?
Agira,
which is insane.
On Agira, the Wrath of God.
He held him at gunpoint.
Yeah, you listen.
Wait, Werner Herzog did?
Yes, listen. You might think.
Tell me more.
You might think. Okay, Klaus Kinski, complete fucking monster in his personal life, learned to act with the Nazis. But I'm sure that he must just be a total pro on set.
Right.
No, nightmare to work with. Again, somehow got a loaded gun on a Gear of the Wrath of God and shot somebody's finger off. But yeah, apparently he was allegedly at his best on-set behavior he was ever on that movie, because Werner Herzog said,
This gun has 6 bullets in it. If you do not change your behavior, I will shoot you 5 times, saving 1 bullet for myself.
And apparently
No
Kinski
way. That is some gangster shit.
like dialed in and was like the most respectful he ever was on a set for the following 6 weeks, because, quote, he believed without a shadow of a doubt that if he pushed it further, Herzog would do it.
Werner Herzog probably spoke to like a British veteran, and he probably gave him some advice, like, "Oh yeah, you want to put this guy in line? Yeah, hold him at gunpoint. That's what we did when we caught him during the war."
And it does
That's
not
crazy.
help that you cannot read Werner's face ever.
Yeah.
I never know
that's
what
tough.
he's thinking.
That's tough. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's
Yeah, he's-
crazy.
Crazy individual.
Jesus Christ.
But why did he keep casting Klaus? Did he
don't
know
know.
these things?
Because there cannot be art without suffering.
Yeah, it's like that. I honestly, okay. So
I
do
agree,
we
but-
all? Yeah, like, Alexis is right there with us.
Alexis, she's back on board. She's casting Klaus Kinski in her next project.
I'm making a movie. Is Klaus still alive?
I'm making a movie. I'm casting Klaus Kinski, Kevin Spacey, and Drake.
For legal reasons, this is a
Yikes.
joke, but I 100% believe that if I got Klaus on set, I could hold him at gunpoint and successfully get him to behave.
Oh yeah. Yes, I kind of want to see that.
Let's
honestly.
just reanimate him.
Yeah, let's do it. Like Weekend at Bernie's Klaus, just so that Alexis can like hold his dead body.
Okay, so
at
we've
gunpoint.
discovered the incredible
kinda liking
technology to bring people back from the dead. Who are we
bringing back?
Who are you resurrecting? Klaus Kinski.
That's amazing. God, the Film Majors pod, where good ideas come to the forefront.
Where good ideas come to perish.
So, how do we all feel then about, like, kind of like what Kenny, what you're saying about how Fitzcarraldo is kind of like a surrogate for like the director, where do we think that he thrives in this suffering and chaos? Like, because that just seems to be his MO. Right?
I personally think he does.
I agree.
Because of his documentary background.
Yeah.
And he's just used to stealing things, stealing shots.
Yeah.
Kind of being well, not kind of, throw that right out. Being unethical with how he makes films.
Kind
A
of.
white man being unethical? I'm shocked. I'm
A
shocked.
German?
What's that?
A white German doing something questionable?
What's that line that Fitzcarraldo has in this movie, which is, yes, no, sort of.
Sometimes.
It's sort of, yeah. Like, that's what, if you ask Klaus, hey, were you a Nazi? That's how he would answer. Yes. No. Sort of.
Sort of.
Who's asking?
Yeah, I think because again, when I was watching the behind the scenes and I find out that like where they're building the ships in kind of like the biggest town, where they're going to like put their like base camp and where they're going to shoot is 1,500 miles
Yes.
away
This man's
downriver.
insane.
Which is ridiculous. And in the documentary, it said that people brought to his attention that, you can just do this over there. Like, you can do the whole movie where the river starts, it looks like jungle because it is jungle. It doesn't need to be 1,500 miles away. But apparently he was pretty steadfast on, no, we have to do it 1,500 miles in the jungle, 500 miles that way, jungle, 1,000
Yes,
miles that
yes.
way, jungle. However, this way, 300 miles, still jungle. Over there, another 1,000 miles, just jungle. And it's like, oh, cool. Why the fuck are we here? Like, people, we've been trying to fly supplies in to feed the crew and keep generators going with gas, and the planes have crashed and killing and injuring people. Why are we here? Werner, why?
Because when man is gone from this landscape,
Like, shut the fuck up,
only
Werner.
then will God return.
Herzog is on his Herzog shit again.
The opening text of this movie is the most fucking Herzog shit ever.
What is it?
I need to look up the exact wording of it, but it's essentially like, this land will only be paradise once man is gone from it.
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I found out that the scene where after they cut the boat loose, I thought they were using miniatures. Because
There was one shot, it seemed like that
Yeah, 'cause
was a
it's in-
miniature when it did come down the waterfall.
Okay, so that is a miniature then.
Yeah, but the rest
Okay.
of it, they're just kind of banging around on this boat.
That's the fucked up thing. So I was like, oh yeah, so they probably just got like a miniature and they sent it down the river or this like little creek or whatever, and they shot in slow motion, which they did do some parts of that. But
Yeah.
then I find out that, oh yeah, what did they do for the scene where they just cut the boat loose?
They just cut the
They
boat
cut the
loose.
boat loose.
Fucking boat loose.
They got on it and started shooting.
But they didn't just shoot like from the riverbank. They
Alexis
had
is
camera
shaking
crew.
her head in disapproval.
They had camera crew and Klaus and Werner on the boat as it's going down the river, banging into cliff sides. And at
So,
one
like,
point,
it might not have been a total loss.
well, so the thing is, like, one shot, like they hit a cliff so hard that the lens flew off, and the camera penetrated the DP's temple, and he's bleeding.
Hit the wrong guy.
He's bleeding, and like, and meanwhile he's bleeding, like sitting up against the side of the boat, and meanwhile Werner Herzog is yelling at Klaus for running out of the shot too quickly. And Klaus,
Background passed too fast.
he was like, it's too fast. He's like, and Klaus is freaking out. He's going like, that's what I would do in real life. I'm running out of the way. Why are you mad at me? And like, meanwhile, this guy's bleeding. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys?
Okay.
What are we doing?
I also heard that the DP had gotten his hand fucked up at some point too, right? Like,
I hadn't heard that. No, what happened?
fuck, I don't remember exactly, but like basically they had to have like surgery on his hand, like basically like out in the fucking jungle, like it fucked up his hand somehow.
Oh, good. Great.
You know, to be honest, the most interesting part about watching the movie was reading this article while I watched the movie. I was like, no shit, really? And then I was just watching, I was like, this is such a peaceful ride down this river. I was like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
Mayhem is going on.
Okay, this is probably a bad take.
But
Hot
this
take.
movie is about Jungle Boogie.
Well, no, I was gonna say I'm
Kind
a
of.
little disappointed, like knowing like Klaus Kinski's like on set antics and how he would like have a meltdown. I was a little disappointed that Fitzcarraldo, the character, wasn't more untethered. Like, I kind of wanted to see more of him
Really?
Watch Bad Lieutenant.
freaking out a bit. Like, I
Watch
think.
Bad Lieutenant.
Okay, I'll watch. That's with Nick Cage.
Yes,
That's-
Werner
looks-
Herzog and Nicolas Cage.
Like, you can tell in his eyes, there's just something about
Yeah.
Klaus Kinski.
He's
There's
off.
just something fucking off. Like, he's just a wild firecracker out here or something.
I think
Yeah.
I have heard something before that he may have been schizophrenic, but I don't know if that's true.
I buy it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I thought Fitzcarraldo was at his most compelling as a character to me just to watch in the first act of the film. When he's just like completely ruining every party he goes to, and every party, yeah, everyone's kicking him out. Like, who the fuck is this white ass motherfucker that keeps
Dude,
like
when he's on the
throwing
bell
shit?
tower, like
Yeah.
ringing the bell, he's like, opera! And I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
which
go off,
that
Queen.
was. Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. Kinski, go off, Queen. Alexis Savicia, 2024. But
Tweet
yeah,
it, post
Alexis,
it, wherever you're
but-
on social media.
I know we keep talking like a lot about like what's not in the movie, but Alexis, I do ask you to watch the Mick Jagger and Jason Robards clip of them in the bell tower because it's just fucking weird. Like, it's just like, I don't know how to describe it. I'm just so glad that didn't end up happening.
Yeah, because that would have ruined this movie.
It would have. It would have. Again, I can't believe they're making me say it, but thank God they got Klaus.
Thank God they got Klaus. Mick Mugnai.
2024.
Tweet
God,
it.
this is
Everybody post it. Make sure that everyone knows in the industry.
Kenny, I'm so sorry this is
the.
the episode that we bring you on, because this is what's going to bring us all down, isn't it? Yeah.
The Nazi comedians.
Yeah.
Don't put that on me. Oh, no. God.
Yeah, so, the movie...
Does it make it any better for Werner that he was on the boat with them, risking his life?
Yes.
Does it make it better
it
in
does.
that? Okay.
That rocks.
No, because
He's not just shouting from...
Listen, if it had been just him with a camera and Klaus Kinski on that boat, I'd be even more behind it, because it would seem like an attempt to end Klaus Kinski's reign of terror.
like really, this is just an elaborate ruse.
Maybe he
actually,
knew the
that
whole
would have been
time.
like so poetic if you think about it, because what if like Werner and Klaus just get taken out at the same time, like, and then Werner has like some sort of like a philosophical quote that he leaves behind about how
Yeah, can you imagine Werner Herzog's last dying breath?
The river of life is wild and untamed, and takes all who travel it down into death's
We
whirlpool.
are all living the La Vida Loca.
Until we are not.
Until we are no longer La Vida Loca-ing.
Jungle boogie, jungle boogie, jungle boogie, jungle boogie.
Wow.
No, we're not familiar with the song Jungle Boogie?
Poetic.
Come on. It's
Totally poetic.
I
But
really thought that
Jungle
joke was going to hit, and I definitely
Yeah.
thought it was going to hit the second time.
Film Major listeners,
that
if
Yes, thank you.
yes, there you go. If you tune into this episode to hear some serious discourse about Fitzcarraldo, I'm not going to apologize, because have you listened to our show?
Yeah, you should know what's
You
happening.
should know what's happening, but also
should know
like
better.
I don't really have. I don't know. I'm a little stumped on this one. Like with Fitzcarraldo, I don't have a lot to say about it. And Alexis, I was awake during all of this, and I don't have that much to say about
Got her
it.
ass again.
Well, no, I mean, I'm kind of saying, like, Alexis, you didn't really, miss that much.
I
with
seem
this
to have
one. I don't know.
missed just the exciting part.
I guess so. Yeah.
All right, so pivoting back to our guest who has seen this film before.
Yes.
Kenny, what was the context you watched this in college?
Oh, God. I think all I knew was he pulls a boat over a hill. I think that's literally all I knew going into this movie, so I'm watching it, and the entire time I'm just waiting for that to happen. The entire runtime, and you're just going through like, oh, it starts, he's running to this opera and begging to be let in because he needs to be in there.
I need the opera.
Damn it, that's still Werner, sorry.
Yeah, just going around through all the different avenues of trying to get this like boat so we can go into the Amazon and do all this, but I kind of wonder if we'd be even talking about this movie had Werner not ruined everyone's lives trying to make it. Because if he would have just done it, like, I don't even know how they would have faked it back then, but let's say he just used a miniature and did that. No one would even be talking about the movie. It would have been lost to time.
Yeah, or you could have actually done it, but
Not killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, use civil corps engineers to like do the work and use construction crews.
That's not fun.
And then
That's not
and
hardcore.
then
That's
throw
not metal.
indigenous people in there for the acting bits, like pretend that they're building it and not actually use them to build it. Like
That's not cinema. That's
Yeah,
film.
you're
There's a
right.
difference.
Yeah, that's different.
I sound so much like Kevin Feige right now, don't I? What if we make the Fitzcarraldo like extended universe?
To make Avengers Infinity War, we will wipe out half of all life on Earth. We must do this practically for nature to heal
Well, okay.
and art to be satisfied.
There is that joke though that came from the set of the first season of Mandalorian, because Werner Herzog is in that. He plays like a bad guy, and
he was impressed with the script, according to Werner Herzog.
cool.
He has also never seen Star Wars.
There's a scene where he's
How has he never?
He hasn't.
good for him.
I was in the jungle when Star Wars was released in theaters.
There's a scene
Well,
where
they didn't
he's
do anything
holding.
practically, so, you know.
There's a scene where his character, Werner Herzog's character, is holding Grogu with his baby Yoda.
I would like to see the child.
And after he does his take,
Jon Favreau
takes the puppet out because then they need to do one with just like a plate, like in case they have to do it like CGI. It's just to cover their base. And Werner Herzog asks, like, yeah, go for it.
Where are you taking this?
And, well, Werner says, we got the shot, but just in case anything was wrong, we just need to have a plate. That way VFX, we can cover our ass.
Cowards.
They never shot another VFX
They didn't
plate.
do it.
They never shot another VFX plate of Baby Yoda because Jon Favreau was too fucking scared of Werner Herzog.
He was called out on set. He was called a coward.
You know what that's giving is like that Keith David, like, that's not how I would do it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Fitzcarraldo, man. It's a movie.
As problematic as Werner is, I still stand by, in college, probably what started the whole craze was I genuinely tried to cast him in my short.
That's right. No way. That's right. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, tell us the story.
So my short is about an aging German filmmaker being forced by a studio executive to bring back his horror franchise from the 80s. So it's very like Scream, Halloween, like that-esque. And so I wanted the aging German, the star, to be Werner Herzog. And so like a friend of mine, it didn't happen obviously, and we stopped at like the looking for his contact information phase because I had to get along with actually making the film because I was trying to cast him. I reached out to Dave Franco's people to try to get him. This is all happening in Sacramento, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
Nice.
I'm going way too hard for this little short.
When you can't get Werner, you get Dave Franco.
In many ways, I've always called him the Werner Herzog of the Franco brothers.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the cojones on that move. I salute you, sir. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's dope.
I just love even though he can be a little problematic, just slightly, with how he's making movies and speaking to people and just his general vibe.
His general aura. Yeah.
I still like that story you just told. I love people with that old school mindset of just not understanding why you'd be wasting time. Like, you did it.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? You already got it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I don't know if listeners, if you can tell, but like, I think we all agree. Like, we all think affectionately of Werner Herzog. We all like him.
Yeah, he's crazy. But
Alexis, what are your feelings on Werner Herzog?
Do you like him?
To be honest, I think the only thing that I've even seen is part of like the Grizzly Man. So I'm like, sure, I can agree that he's talented and he has a vision. But, don't ask me to jump on the bandwagon of another crazy white man. You can't ask me that.
Oh, come on, Alexis.
Anymore.
Well, Alexis, that's your favorite thing to do. You love that.
You're so good at it.
I don't know, guys. I don't know what it's done for me so far.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, he ain't winning any personality contests, but that's kind of why I'm fascinated by him. He's just so
He's winning the personality contest for most cryptic fucker alive.
Yeah, he's just he's just so German, man. He's a caricature in a way, Yeah.
He is the last true artist alive because he does not care for life. He only cares for suffering.
I knew this. I went into this going like, this is going to be like 30%. Like, it was Werner.
30 is low.
This is low. That is low.
I want him in Tarantino's last movie. Somehow. I don't know how.
Also, please don't invoke Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Please don't invoke him. We've got a real problem with him sneaking onto this show. He was here 2 episodes ago. He was talking about Katharine Hepburn's feet. It was a problem.
Which I agree with. Yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah, I think it's past his bedtime.
Yeah,
I think we're okay. I'm going to lock the door to be safe.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah. No, this was I wish I had more to say that's eloquent about this movie because this movie is celebrated more or less amongst the sophisticated film community or whatever.
Yeah, but when have we ever been that?
We haven't, but there are movies that I do really love getting into the nitty-gritty of, but this didn't grab a hold of me, and that is saying something because this is a fucking boat movie. And it didn't light a fire for me. It didn't light my boat fire.
Well, I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it's okay. I wanted to see it. I'm really glad we covered this movie.
Yeah, I'm glad to have seen it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I think this is kind of like one of those things. It's required viewing. Everyone should see Fitzcarraldo at some point in their life. Just once.
Maybe twice, but you don't need to do that.
Yeah, that's right, because you've done it twice.
Yeah, I've seen the doc plenty of times.
It's a good doc. Yeah. Check it out. Well, is there anything else we want to say?
Final thoughts all around,
Alexis?
Wow. I'm really trying to piece together some thoughts, and
cool.
It's all floating down the river. So I'm gonna smash it to you, Zach.
Jesus.
All right.
Some say she's really phoning it in. She's been checked out for a few episodes.
She's ready
now.
for it to be next month.
Yeah, she's done. She's over it.
You know what? You know what? Something that I say at work, I've been saying at work for the past week and a half now is, Natalie, can you tell Patrick to take me out? I don't want to be on the first string anymore. Can you put me on the second string? I'm not ready to be in the pros anymore. Take me back.
Kenny, any final thoughts on Fitzcarraldo?
Wow, Fitzcarraldo. Interesting, kind of slow. Definitely worth watching just for the story behind the making of this film. But the film itself lacks in almost every category.
Yeah. Certainly.
Zach?
I saw it.
Yeah.
It's Werner Herzog has one of the most fun voices to do around, and I'll always respect him for that.
I respect him for his voice.
I respect him for his craftsmanship and his art, his drive to do what other men will not.
So
Nice.
The most nihilistic man of all time.
Yeah, no, for real. I'll finish off by saying, it's been a fantastic boat month. To finish off with this one was a little bit of a thud, but that's okay. I've always wanted to see this movie. I think, Kenny, you said it best actually earlier in the episode where you said that, when you're watching Fitzcarraldo, you're kind of just waiting for it to get to the boat mountain scene.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when you finally get to it. It is absolutely impressive in a really perverse, malicious way as you're watching it going this is just fascinating to watch because it's so terrible, but also super impressive. So again, super impressive film in general, but I agree. I think it was said best. Yeah, it's the story behind it is more compelling than the actual final product.
Indeed.
Yeah, but that concludes 2024's boat month.
Goodbye.
Wave goodbye to it, but pull out your handkerchief and I love how we're actually all waving, listeners.
Cast off now. Cast off.
Like a bunch of idiots, we're waving to nothing right now.
Still not filming the
You
show.
guys don't even have anything up on the TV. How could you close out boat month like this? You always have some waves or a boat on the TV. I was missing that. There was no visual integrity to this episode.
You are looking into the hole of madness.
When you look into the abyss, you feel the abyss staring back at you.
Well, we're about to head into Queer Cinema Month.
That's right,
Round
folks.
2, baby.
It is Queer Month and ergo Queer Cinema Month that we're coming up on. I'm excited.
And
Kenny, how do you feel?
Great.
Kicking it together.
Yeah, you're going to be here for the rest of it. You didn't know this is a full-time commitment, man. You're on the show
You're just
now.
On the show now.
Yeah,
did I not
big
mention
mistake, dude.
Oh, sorry. Queer Cinema Month is coming up next week. Where is this boat going?
You know what?
It's still a boat.
Does anyone else have strong feelings on where we should go?
Did you land officially on your take yet? Like, are you doing that one or no?
I'm not doing that
You're
one.
not doing that one.
Because there were a couple of movies that I was thinking about, but both of the directors are straight. And currently, I would like to stick with queer directors for as long as we can. I don't want to necessarily rule out stuff like Brokeback Mountain or the other movie I was thinking about in the future. But for now, I would like to stick with queer directors.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a strong feeling about their pick?
I do, but Alexis, our residential gay queen, how do you feel?
I've not thought super deep. The one that I've thought that we should cover that we didn't cover last year, I don't actually think the director is gay, but I could be wrong, but I'm not sure. Fuck.
Okay.
Is he?
All right.
Yeah, no, you do it, man.
So I'll kick off Queer Cinema Month. I tried watching this movie a while ago, didn't finish it, and it has been something I've long regretted, so I want to amend that. We are going to be starting Queer Month with the apparently masterpiece of 2019's Portrait of a Lady on
Yes,
Fire.
I knew it.
Nice.
Directed by Celine Sciamma? I'm probably butchering that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Celine Sciamma. But this was a movie that every time I see a frame, a still from the film, it looks absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. It is a period piece, so
wow,
I'm
you're
there for
doing
that.
Alexis's work for her.
Well, we're all on the same page. We love period pieces.
Yeah, all of us.
So yeah, I'm really excited to finally give my undivided attention to this movie because I have long been wanting to see it. Kenny, have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I saw it the one time in theaters. I do love it. And exactly on your point, every time I see a frame, I'm immediately transported back to how I was feeling watching that for the very first time. And the ending is pretty strong. Pretty strong.
Goddamn right.
That's all
I'm
I'll
feeling
say.
good about my pick then.
All right, Mick, where can we find this picture?
You can watch it on Hulu if you are subscribed, or rent it anywhere else that you rent your movies.
Wunderbar. And if you want to find us, the Film Majors, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. And you can find us on YouTube. Subscribe, like the videos.
Comment, subscribe, please.
We're currently uploading old episodes, so if you want to dip back into the Film Majors vault, you can
the vault
check
Jerry.
out some of our older stuff.
And really quickly, not to call you out, Kenny, is there anything you'd like to plug on the show? Anything you're working on? Anything you want people to be aware of about you?
Just be on the lookout in September later this year. I will be releasing my short 5 stars on the internet.
Fuck yeah.
So you can follow me on Instagram at Kenny Makes Movie. That's 1. And you'll see all the info about that.
Fuck yeah. That's
and that'll be
movie
linked
singular.
in the show notes.
Singular, yes.
I have
movie.
to say, I have seen 5 stars, and surprise, surprise, 5 fucking stars. That's it. You did a really good fucking short. So people, you should watch it. It's really impressive.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And if you want to give us your thoughts on films you'd like to see us cover during Queer Cinema Month, you can email us at filmmakerspod@gmail.com. And with that, farewell, Boat Month.
Bye-bye.
Bye.